studios here in New York City, investigative reporter Brian Ross. So how bad do you think this is, Brian?
Well, Bill, it's $500 million bad and plus. It goes right to the door of the White House. New emails that came out today at a congressional hearing revealed the pressure put on people inside the White House to move up the timing, with pushback from budget analysts saying, we're getting rushed here, we should do this in a different order. Even so, they went ahead with the loan. And then I was stunned to learn today that earlier this year, early in the year, the White House became aware the company was about to go bankrupt. Now, the government, the White House told us, and the company told people in Congress, everything was great, rosy projections, at a time they knew they were running out of cash. And so they restructured the loan, and in doing so, they put the taxpayers behind private investors when any money might be recovered from the bankrupt firm.
All right, because Solyndra not $527 million from the taxpayers. They also raised private money, billions of private money. And the guy behind this, Frazier, is that his name?
George Kaiser, Oklahoma billionaire and a big fundraiser for President Obama.
So this guy Kaiser, big Obama guy, bundled money for his campaign in 2008 and continues to be a big donor. He was a private investigator. Now he's at the head of the line in case there's any money left over from the bankruptcy, which you assume there would be. And then the taxpayers are going to get hosed. But where does the buck stop? The Energy Department lent them the money. Now, I assume President Obama is going to say, look, I don't deal with this kind of stuff. I mean, I'm trying to get bin Laden. I'm trying to get the economy back on track. These are my underlings do this. Is that going to wash?
Well, major people on his staff were involved, and Kaiser, according to visitor logs we've examined, visited the White House at least 4 times in the period when the loan was under consideration before final approval, meeting with aides Valerie Jarrett and Peter Rouse, among others. They won't tell us what happened at those meetings. The White House denies there was any political influence, just a loan that went bad because these startups can be risky. But I think there are serious questions about whether influence was involved, and they're unanswered. The people before the congressional hearing today from the administration essentially were there. They said they didn't know what happened because they took office after the loan was approved.
All right. So the crony capitalism charges, and we knew this with GE. Jeffrey Immelt, the CEO, is moving divisions to China, yet he remains in charge of developing American jobs for the Obama administration. So it seems to me that in their quest and haste and enthusiasm to develop alternative energy, i.e. solar, all right, that they took a big risk with $527 million, $500 million of taxpayer money, and they said, we're going to take the risk because we really want this political. Do you think that's what it is?
Well, I think that's true. I think they believed in it in a way, and this was going to be the model. This was the future, as the president described it.
But how can you believe in it if your own guys are telling you, hey, the company's going down? I mean, it looks to me like they said we don't care.
They didn't want to hear that. The loan was put on hold by the Bush administration on January 9th of 2009, and then 6 days after the new administration took office, it was back on a fast track and was approved very quickly. Now, the questions today were not answered very well by the people from the administration. How did that happen? No one seemed to know the answer.
Nobody knows. We weren't here. We don't know. Now,
exactly.
The FBI is involved, because I think with that kind of money going in there's got to be some shenanigans, and that's what they're looking at, right?
And they're looking at questions, I believe, of whether the company lied to the government about the prospects for its future and therefore influenced the loan process by giving them misleading figures. They won't talk about that, but that's what we are told.
That's what we think. So I think so, too. So this is Enron 2 is what this is, right?
It has that aspect, and there are lots of big names that could be drawn in. I think we'll be hearing about this all the way through next November.
All right. Brian, as always, we thank you very much. Plenty more ahead as the factor moves along this evening. Entertain